Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares. Welcome back to another episode of What's in the Bag, Jay. Now, this is the segment where I pick 6 movies from my collection that I haven't seen, throw their names in the bag, draw one out at random, and do a review. Now, returning from last week is Ill Final Contagion, All Hallows Eve 2, The Jonestown Haunting, a fan favorite, Vampire Over London, Horrific. And making its debut this week is Gnaw. Now I'm going to give the bag a good tussle, and we're going to see what we're going to watch this week. All right. Let's see what we got. Finally, Vampire Over London. All right, I'm going to set this movie aside while I set all the other movies side by side, and I'm going to get my trusty Freddy vs. Jason die, and we're going to see what comes back next week. Now, if it lands on Freddy vs. Jason or a 5, they all come back. Five. They all come back. Well, I'm going to go watch Vampire Over London, but if you still want to vote, we have Ill, All Hallows Eve, The Jonestown Haunting, Gnaw, and Horrific, just so I can keep track of what you guys like. But like I said, now I'm going to go watch Vampire Over London, finally, and come back with a review. Later. Well, I'm back. And this seems like the one everyone's been waiting for. Did I like it? We're about to find out. Vampire Over London is a 1952 film which runs approximately 74 minutes and is directed by John Gilling. Now, unfortunately, he passed away on November 22nd, 1984, at the age of 72. He did Cross of the Devil, The Mummy Shroud, and The Reptile for Hammer Films. Now, this stars Arthur Lucan as Mother Riley. He passed away on May 17th, 1954, at the age of 68. He was in Jungle Treasure, and apparently there were a whole slew of old Mother Riley movies, but I'll get to that in a little bit later. This also stars the late Bela Lugosi as the vampire. He passed away on August 16th, 1956, at the age of 73. He was in Dracula, The Black Sleep, and Scared to Death. And finally, Dora Bryan as Tilly. She passed away on July 23rd, 2014, at the age of 91. She was in Mirror Mask, Apartment Zero, and Screen Time, which is an anthology. Not a bad one either. This movie was a lot of fun. This is a horror comedy in the tradition of very physical comedy like The Three Stooges and Laurel and Hardy. You have a pretty basic story. In the beginning of the film, a scientist comes over on a boat and is instantly kidnapped by Bela Lugosi and his henchmen, mostly by his henchmen. Now, she is taken to his place because she possesses charts of a special chemical that Bela Lugosi needs to make his robots. Now, he is making robots, of course, to fight man and to be the toughest kid on the block, basically. Because he says that no army, no ships, no anything will be able to defeat these robots. She has uranium in her possession, kind of, because she has the charts, and the robots are going to be made out of uranium. Now, he did have a little bit, and he did make one robot. This robot is being delivered to Dr. Riley, which is right where the vampire is. Well, on its way in a big wooden crate, it magically changes addresses to Old Mother Riley. Now, Old Mother Riley is played by Arthur Lucan, and it is a man dressed up as an old lady. And he does very physical comedy. So when they find out that the robot has been delivered to the wrong address, they quickly send a car over to Old Mother Riley's house and kidnap her and take the robot. So they get the robot back, and Old Mother Riley, since she knows too much, is now employed by the vampire. And he, of course, is trying to still get the charts from the lady that he kidnapped under hypnotism. And that's basically your story in a nutshell. It's a pretty simple story. I guess I went into more detail than I needed to, but it's a lot of fun. It's, like I said, comedy horror. There is some horror aspects to it, but most of it is physical comedy. And it's the type of comedy that I always liked. Like I said, it's very reminiscent of the Three Stooges, Laurel and Hardy, stuff like that. It's a really good time. It's not going to be easy to find. As a matter of fact, this was released under the Son of Dracula, I believe, at one time. And then it was also released after Bela Lugosi's death as the last, because this is the very last old Mother movie. Was it Old Mother Riley? This is the very last Old Mother Riley movie, because he died shortly after as well. But it's a lot of fun. It's not exactly politically correct, because you do have a man dressed up as an old woman, and people are aware that it's a man, so there's a lot of gay jokes that wouldn't necessarily fly today by today's standards, but it's a fun movie. And barring the few words that are inappropriate for children to see, this is actually a pretty fun gateway movie to show kids. Like I said, some of the language in there is not exactly acceptable today, but I don't see a reason why people can't sit down with their kids and talk about it. This is a fun movie. I think people of all ages would probably enjoy it. And yeah, take that for what it's worth. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.